So good morning. This morning I'm with Tom Byng of TMB Tax Consultancy. It's a specialist tax consultancy that I've done some work with for my clients. Good morning, Tom. How are you?
Hi, Demi. Yeah, good, thank you.
Look, perhaps you could just introduce us a little bit about your practice. It's quite a specialist practice from what I can see. Could you tell us a bit about TMB and the kind of work you get involved with, please?
I'm actually involved in two businesses. There's TMB Tax Consultancy, as you mentioned, and also this R&D Limited, both of which focus on helping businesses to claim R&D tax relief, which in very general terms gives cash tax savings when a business spends time solving uncertainties.
Okay.
And as in technical uncertainties rather than just commercial ones.
Okay, that sounds quite broad. Could you
yes, it is.
Give us some examples, perhaps, of trades and professions where this might be relevant?
Well, actually, it's involved pretty much every industry can have claims, and I've made claims in almost every sector I can think of. But primarily, it would be software, in construction industry,
right,
and also food and drink.
Okay. So perhaps if we start there, pick out one, construction, because that's a surprise to me that would come under R&D, research and development tax claims. Have you got an example from your sort of back catalogue, as it were, of where it comes into it?
Yeah, what I did quite recently was that they were redeveloping a listed building, and the plans were drawn up. They managed to get everything in there, but when they're out on site, the way they wanted to do certain things, they couldn't do because the listed staircase was in the way, and they had to go around that, or a wall that was meant to be knocked down they couldn't touch.
Mm-hmm.
So how they actually solve those problems on site. And as was the issue with construction is a lot of people don't think it's R&D because
I'm surprised at that.
Like yourself, they're out. They solve problems. That's just their day job. That's what they do. But that does qualify.
Brilliant. So if clients have got some innovation or ideas or problem solving within their business, then what you're saying, that's a good starting point. And what,
yes.
You speak to them up front, you help them to establish, in fact, whether they can claim this tax back. Is that how you work?
Yeah. I mean, generally, start off with a call with the client just to see, is there R&D potential there? Mm-hmm. Then if there's not, then at least everyone knows. If there is, then in that case, we move on, have a meeting, either face-to-face or over Zoom, depending on where things get to. Yeah, to talk about the work in more detail, because what needs to go to a HMRC is the breakdown of the costs, but also a report setting out what the R&D is and why it qualifies.
I see. And you help.
That's where I really come in. I ask them various questions, get to the bottom of the development work. Mm-hmm. Then I take everything away, put the report together, put the cost together based on what we've discussed, send it back to them to review, and then it goes to revenue.
And how long have you been working with these R&D claims? Have you been doing that for some time?
Yeah, I've been working with R&D claims for just short of 20 years now.
Oh, wow. Long time.
Started at Deloitte back in 2000, and then became a partner at McIntyre Hudson until just over 2 years ago, when I set up these businesses. I started going on my own.
Fantastic. So you've stepped out on your own. And tell me, what sort of typically for clients listening, potential clients listening to this, what sort of size are we talking about as the average claim, that you've dealt with over those 20 years?
It's very hard to give an average, because there's some claims where the cashback is £2,000. There's some where cashback is substantially more than that. But average is probably about 20 to 30,000 of actual physical cash.
Wow.
Either as a tax saving or as cash to come back.
In actual fact, you've mentioned something there a couple of times. You've mentioned the term cashback. Can you just expand on that a little bit?
Yeah, if your business is profitable, then the way it works is you get an extra tax deduction, which reduces your profits, so your tax goes down. Mm-hmm. So if you pay the tax in prior years and you want to get that back, then you get cash back. But also, if the business is loss making,
Mhm.
which a lot of startups are in for the first couple of years at least, you can surrender that loss to the revenue,
Mhm.
and they will give you cash instead. So rather than have losses to carry forward in the future, you can have physical cash, well, within a month of making the claim.
Well, this is very interesting. I mean, there's many clients and businesses now are obviously disrupted by the current situation. As always, cash flow is king. And I've come across many small to medium-sized businesses that have overlooked this R&D tax reclaim opportunity. So I think a conversation with you for many small businesses to medium-sized businesses would be a great idea. Now, what if the client's already got an existing accountant?
So the thing about R&D is it is a very specialist area of tax, and where you have to have sort of three things really: a deep understanding of the rules of R&D and what qualifies,
Mm-hmm.
an understanding of the client's business,
Mm-hmm.
because you can't make the claim without that,
Right.
and also how that fits into the wider tax computation and the wider tax affairs of the business. Now, an accountant will have at least two of those, and some accountants do have the expertise in R&D and can do it, and that's no problem. But a lot of accountants don't feel comfortable in preparing the claims because they recognise it is specialist, and they don't want to sort of shortchange their clients and put in a claim that's not maximised.
Brilliant.
And in fact, a lot of my referrals do come from accountants.
That's it.
Who can't do it themselves or don't want to do it themselves, and pass it over to me. I work with them to make it as painless as possible for the clients.
Yes.
Which helps the accountant as well, because it makes them look good. They're doing the best for their clients.
So that's a win-win for everybody. Well, I have to say, I recently did refer one of my clients, corporate clients, over to you, and I know they were very, very pleased. They had an existing accountant. As a team play goes on, as you've explained, and they're very pleased with the outcome. And obviously, a cash injection that they hadn't been expecting was very well received. So, Tom,
it was a cash injection for the past. It was also tax savings going forward, because their work is ongoing.
yes.
Because generally with R&D, it's not just one project. There are lots of projects ongoing all the time, and it's therefore a tax saving every year.
Brilliant. Tom, thank you very much for enlightening us this morning on R&D. And at the end of this video, and indeed at the beginning, I'll put up your contact details so people can get in touch with you if they'd like to discuss potential claims. And I know both you and I are connected on LinkedIn, so they can also get to you through my profile on LinkedIn. Tom, it's been a pleasure talking with you. Thank you very much.
And thank you.
Speak to you soon.
Cheers.